Hey, good afternoon or evening now. It's 6 p.m. So let's get right into this. You already know my name. It's Colton. So the three questions are for discussion one. We have, in what ways are or were your definitions of organizational communication similar to and different from those presented in text? Share your definition and what you believe to the text definition of organizational communication. So my definition of organization was similar. I said that it was basically organized structure of people or a society or a group of people that get together mainly for business. So, I mean, that's kind of what I said for organization. They basically conform together to do some sort of mundane task to achieve an end goal. So, the text definition / dictionary definition was an organized structure or whole, a business or administrative concern united and constructed for a particular end. And that was on page 10. And next question. Based on your reading and the video shared, how do you currently believe organization and communication relate? Give an example from your personal / professional experience to highlight this. So this one I can talk about a little bit more. It won't be a quick rundown. So, well, with human-to-human interaction needed and information needed to be conveyed between them within an organization, it only makes sense that communication needs to be key when talking to other people within that work group or society. So the book definition here is social collective. It is social collective in which people develop ritualized patterns of interaction in an attempt to coordinate their activities and efforts in the ongoing accomplishment of personal and group goals. Basically, an organized collection of individuals working immediately together, or a group of people that are structured or relatively structured, organized, and in either an open system, closed system, to achieve common goals. So, for instance, in my professional background and personal experience in the military, I used to talk to pilots a lot. And we would have common terms that a lot of people don't know. We have a NAVMAC that's called Land, Air, and Sea Application. It actually has its own acronym as well. But in that book, there's a lot of words that... Sorry, my chair keeps rubbing against the thing. All right, but we have this definition that we use pretty often. It's called BRAA, B-R-A-A. And that's bearing, range, altitude, and aspect. So a lot of pilots would ask me as they're flying in the air, because I give them tactical air traffic control to point them into the nearest threat. So they would say something like, Slater 4-1 bogey dope. So bogey dope is just a term that they use to, hey, I need a target, or point me in the nearest direction for the nearest group. So with this interperson relationship and organizational communication, it was well structured that I needed to say target South Group BRA 18533 26,000 hot hostile, and they instantly know where exactly to point the nose of their plane, because it's 185. 33 is the distance, 26,000 was the altitude, and hot is a aspect of the direction that the enemy aircraft is flying, and hostile just to tell them it's not a neutral or friendly. So that's basically my professional experience of what it's like for organizational communication from my understanding. So next question. What were the three most important concepts presented in the first chapter of our text? Explain the concepts and cite the text in your explanation. So the three main concepts or key takeaways for this chapter are organization. That's what this chapter is about, and that's what this book's about. So I put organization for one of my main concepts. It's on page 10. The book gives a really good definition. They say that this is give a better understanding for what is happening within the structured company or society. So I think that's a main concept here. I kind of already hit that on the first question. So The second one, I believe, human communication is another big thing about this chapter, or throughout this chapter. It helps define the relation between the two terms and words, and broadening that amongst organizational communication. So, because human communication needs to be brought up and defined in order to talk about organizational communication. So it's a two-way street. And that is on page 27, is that human communication definition from the book, as well as what it talks about and how it relates to this. And the last concept or key takeaway for this chapter is the conceptual definition of organizational communication on page 34. The definition is defined as a group of stakeholders who attempt to stimulate meaning between another organizational stakeholder or group of stakeholders through the intentional use of verbal, nonverbal, and mediated messages. So basically, that's just saying it's one group talking to another group, either within their company or outside their company. And that's the use of, again, that human communication, which is source, message, channel, and receiver. So I think that's the three main concepts from this chapter. And that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching my video, and have a great night. Take it easy.